Think about someone you know, maybe a close friend, a family member, or someone you went to school with, who is entirely absent from social media. No Instagram posts, no daily stories, no status updates. We often view this absence with a measure of suspicion. The immediate assumption is that they are struggling with depression, or that they are hiding some part of themselves from the world. This suspicion stems from a culture that treats digital broadcasting as the primary proof of a person's relevance. In this framework, the screen is the only place where existence is verified. When someone leaves zero digital footprint, it raises a question about their internal world. They are either operating with a psychological deficit, or they have accessed a level of security that the rest of the world has yet to figure out. Understanding the choice to opt out requires looking at the mechanics of why the rest of us stay in. Psychologists call the primary driver of social media use impression management. Every photo, caption, and story we share functions as a carefully constructed signal. This is a curated output designed to shape an identity and extract external validation from an audience. Relying on this loop for self-worth creates a precarious internal state. If the validation, the likes and the comments, fails to arrive, the individual's perceived relevance begins to erode. Choosing to never post represents an active departure from this psychological economy and the constant need for digital reinforcement. Researchers categorize non-posters into 3 specific profiles. The first is defined by social anxiety and a profound aversion to being judged. For these individuals, the prospect of being publicly evaluated or scored by an audience triggers a biological stress response. Their nervous system perceives the vulnerability of a social media post as an acute physical threat. They typically remain as lurkers, scrolling and consuming content daily, but refusing to contribute anything that would make them visible or subject to critique. For the self-protector, silence functions as a psychological shield, guarding their internal peace from the risks of public evaluation. The second profile focuses specifically on boundaries. These are people with a high need for privacy and a strong internal sense of self. To this group, posting an intimate moment feels like exposure rather than sharing. They view their personal experiences as private property that an online audience has not earned the right to see. Because their identity is anchored internally, they do not require digital metrics to confirm that a vacation was enjoyable or a life milestone was meaningful. A secure identity can exist entirely independent of a digital audience. The third profile is centered on the principles of self-determination theory. This model shows the 3 pillars for psychological health: competence, connection, and autonomy. Most users satisfy these by tethering them to digital feedback from their network. Non-posters root these needs in the physical world, finding connection through relationships and competence through meaningful offline work. They maintain a zero digital footprint because their internal world provides all the validation they require. The clinical data regarding these habits is remarkably consistent. This graph visualizes a study from the University of Pennsylvania. It shows that when social media use is restricted to minimal levels, metrics for depression and loneliness drop significantly. Conversely, passive consumption, the act of scrolling without ever contributing, is linked to higher rates of envy and social comparison. Withdrawing from this cycle serves as a quiet method of protecting the brain from the systemic harms of digital comparison. In a world where physical experiences are routinely commodified for a screen, the act of not posting has become a significant choice. Refusing to participate in this curation is a radical form of psychological self-preservation. It is the belief that a moment belongs to the person experiencing it. It does not need to be shared or validated to be real. The people absent from our feeds have recognized that a life lived fully does not